our opening song. So let me share my screen here with you. And our opening song is We Welcome You, Spirit.
We welcome you, Spirit, as we gather here to love one another in ways you make clear. We lift up our hearts in joy and open our minds. We welcome you, Spirit, in this holy time. We welcome you, Spirit, as we gather here to love one another in ways you make clear. We lift up our hearts in joy and open our minds. We welcome you, Spirit, in this holy time. We welcome you, Spirit, in this holy time.
And now we move into our time of lighting our unity candle. We light this candle each week, which represents that light of spirit that is in each and every one of us. That spark of the divine that we find within each one. And it reminds us that that light is a connecting part of us. And as we look into the faces of each person here, we see that light of God being reflected back to us. So thank you for being here. Welcome to the Louisville Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Rick McCollum. I'm your spiritual director, and I am so glad to be here with you. Happy Valentine's Day to everyone. Okay. So glad that you're here, and know that this spiritual community is a place that's inclusive of all people. And so we want you to know that wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you're welcome here. And we're glad that you're with us today. I know that Spirit will touch you through this service and that your heart will be blessed. So be open and know that you are expecting a wonderful time together as spiritual community. I do want to begin with just a quick update to let you know that some of you knew that Reverend Carolyn was in the hospital. She was there for several days, and she is now home and is getting stronger. So we've gotten some emails from her. So she is up and functioning and getting stronger. So just wanted to let you know that. Hold her in your prayers as she continues to recover. So thank you for that. And now it's time for our opening prayer. And so I'm going to ask Pat, who is our practitioner of the day, to do our opening prayer, and then she will do our spiritual reading.
Good morning, everyone. Take a couple of deep breaths and settle into this, our happy place, our safe place, where we recognize one God and one life that is the life of all people, animals, nature. Everywhere is this life, and all of us together in it are united as one family. We come here this morning to share, to feel, to embrace, and to bring out good things that will follow us all through the week. I am grateful to be here every week and grateful for the joy that just this 1 hour brings me all week long. And I lift these words up into the law that takes them automatically and impartially and says yes. And I release them there with an abundance of gratitude for each and every one of you and everything we are about to experience. And so it is. Now, as practitioner of the day, I get to do readings, and I was sort of like a loose cannon as I was preparing these because I couldn't make up my mind between which one I wanted to do, so I decided to do both of them because one of them is very short. The first one is to mark the day, Valentine's Day, and it starts, we've all heard the story many times about footprints in the sand. It's a story about two sets of footprints appearing side by side. It is the footprints of a person like you and me, and the footprints of God beside them. At some point, the person notices that during the hard times of their lives, there were only one set of footprints, and asks, during these difficult times, why did you abandon me? To which God answers, I didn't abandon you. It was during these times that I carried you. On this Valentine's Day, I want to give you a different perspective on the footprint story. To the core of my soul, I know that every day is Valentine's Day for me in spirit. Within that unconditional love that we share, there is no beginning and no end. I know and understand unequivocally that there has always been only one set of footprints in the sand, because I have always carried spirit in my heart, and so do you. And today, more on the subject of what Reverend Rick is going to talk about. The year was somewhere between 2010 and 2011. I had been taking classes with Vicki Jeter since 2007, and now I was involved in practitioner classes that she and Reverend Carolyn taught together. Every class was special and unique in its own way, and every class caused you to reflect more and more deeply on the spiritual subject matter at hand. The class on mysticism and mystics was no different. What was different was the student, me. Even before the class began, I had been reading a book by Richard Burke from the 1920s about mystics. His book chronicled mystical events in the lives of well-known people, from Buddha to Jesus to Spinoza and Emerson, and many more, all detailing an episode of moving past the veil between them and spirit, and how that experience changed their lives. I was fascinated from the moment I read the first story, and now I was enrolled in an 8-week class about the same subject. These events are not necessarily religious in nature, but they share a few common traits. One being they come at a quiet time, but not necessarily a long contemplation period. Maybe it's during a prayer or meditation, or maybe it's during the slower moments that come between switching from one task to another. Every person said the experience was brief, but unspeakably beautiful. Truly, they said they did not have the human words to adequately describe it to others. These stories had me asking, what exactly is a mystic? The answer I found shocked me. A mystic is nobody special. Who can be a mystic? Any person from any walk of life. A mystic is a person who has a moment with spirit so personal it cannot be described, who has done something, as we all, as followers of Ernest Holmes and Science of Mind, have done. They have had a moment where their ego and human identification are bypassed, and they are suddenly connected with the all that is. It's a union with God, a state of being, and nothing more than just being. If you have not had one yet, you have probably been very close many times. And it is possible you have had one and did not recognize it for what it truly was. Maybe you felt something beginning and jumped out of that moment thinking, oh, that was really lovely. So, per Mirabai Starr, author of Wild Mercy, Living the Fierce and Tender Wisdom of the Women Mystics, a mystic is an ordinary person who does ordinary things and experiences these moments of profound union with their source. That's you and me. The class and book put me in touch with something especially important. It put me in touch with the reality that all those people that I thought were gifted or super special were just like me. I realized that I was a mystic. I was a mystic intern. And we all are. I was so happy with this realization that I went out and bought the domain name Mystic Intern. And still to this day, I send small email inspirations from time to time to others to remind them of their divinity and connection with spirit. So if there is one thing I want you to take away from this sacred reading today, it is this: you are a mystic. Maybe in intern form, or maybe full blown. Yes, you, right here, right now, no classes or books needed, just a few simple, quiet moments, letting God experience life as only it can through you and as you. Namaste.
Thank you, Pat. And now we move to our song before the talk. And so let me share that with you. This is called If Love Is Why I'm Here.
Love is why I'm here. Let me be an open channel. If love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive. If love is why I'm
have you ever asked yourself, why am I here? What is my purpose in life? Well, as they sang in the song, if love is why I'm here, let me be an open vessel. To me, that sounds like a prayer. This month, our talks are inviting us to consider how we can move from just thinking about God to really experiencing God. This week, I'm sharing about the infinite invisible. This is just one more name that we can use for that power that's greater than we are. As we become open and receptive participants with this infinite invisible, our lives can and will demonstrate that divine relationship. We can have that mystical experience that Pat was talking about. When we allow the infinite that resides within us, as us, and through us to shine forth from our lives, then we truly are living as spiritual beings. Emerson tells us that love is a synonym for God. We read in the New Testament, "The one who loveth not knoweth not God, for God is love." Now, I'm sure you've heard that before, that God is love. So if we think through this, if God is love, then I'm clear that as spiritual beings having a human experience, we're here to express unique demonstrations of God, of the infinite invisible, that source of our life. If God is love, then to me it stands to reason love is why I'm here. I'm here to express God, and God is love. So I'm here to express love. So yes, let me be an open vessel to express this. Today's Valentine's Day. So Pat thought I was talking about mysticism. What she didn't know is Spirit changed the talk. And I'm really talking about Valentine's Day. What feelings, images, and thoughts come up for you when I say Happy Valentine's Day? Is it something that creates a sense of dread because you're thinking about happy people in love and you're not? Maybe you're worried about charges for gifts that you can't really afford. Or does it create a sense of excitement for you? A love and a joy? Do you think about candy hearts and roses and candlelight dinners and maybe even teddy bears? You see, it's our fits, our feelings, images, and thoughts that tell us what our beliefs are. So when it comes to love, what are your beliefs? Do you believe that you deserve love? Or is it hard for you to accept love? Are you upset that you didn't get the love you wanted in the past? All of these feelings, images, and thoughts are important indicators of how our life will manifest. So just as Pat's reading about the footprints in the sand tried to reframe Valentine's Day, I want to also reframe this for us. This Valentine's Day could be the one where you focus on celebrating love, the love between you and the infinite invisible, the Spirit, God, Shamu, whatever name you want to give to the God of your understanding, that power in the universe that created you. It formed you from the very beginning. It created you as its child, and it made you from itself. It designed you with its pattern of perfection and wholeness as your very core. Have you ever considered falling in love with your Creator? I'm not talking about your parents as your Creator. I'm talking about the Creator of all life. I know as human beings, we're taught to look around at the things that are around us on the physical plane. And we tend to judge things that we see as either good or bad. In the Bible, It teaches us, judge not by appearances, but by righteous judgment. Now, I'll admit, I had a problem with what is righteous judgment. As I've studied, though, I learned righteous judgment simply means spiritual truth. Don't judge by what you see, but judge by what you know to be spiritual truth. And one spiritual truth is that all beings are created equal, that we are each a child of God. There is no one person or group of people that are favored by God any more than another group. We're all children of the divine. So when we see our oneness, when we see that as united with God, we are one people, one human race, can we have more compassion? If we know that God is love and we are made in that likeness and image of God, then we're made in that love. So are we bringing forth love into the world? Or are we looking on the outside of us for somebody else to give us love? You see, Spirit has already offered unconditional love to each and every one of us. Are we willing to accept it? As spiritual beings, can we sense and focus on that infinite invisible that's created us as its child? Can we see the oneness in all people? Can we know that God is offering us wholeness, health, and abundance? And can we expect that? How much of the lavish abundance of the universe are you willing to accept in your life? Falling in love with the divine, to me, can mean that I'm living in a state of constant gratitude, that I'm being open to the gifts of Spirit. Do you live in gratitude, and are you open to the gifts of Spirit? Love, joy, peace, wisdom, beauty, life, and power. These are all attributes of the infinite that are offered to each one of us. So where are you focusing your attention? Are you loving Spirit and gratefully welcoming these attributes of God into your life and your experiences? Or are you limiting Spirit and not accepting what God has offered so freely for whatever reasons you make up in your own mind? It's a good question to ask ourselves. Jesus said, "As ye believe, shall it be done unto you." And our beloved Ernest Holmes spoke of the law of mental equivalence. We will get what we're expecting, what we're thinking about in our minds, either consciously or subconsciously. That law of mind and action, or mental equivalent, is another name he called it. Our feelings and our emotions are creative. So life unfolds as we believe. Let me share this example with you. When my sister got married, she planned the perfect wedding. She spent a full year working out all of the details. She was getting married in Ohio. She had a harpist fly in from Chicago. She had singers from several states that came in. She created the perfect wedding dresses for herself and her bridesmaids. Shoes were dyed to just the right color to match the dresses. During her planning, I kept hearing her say over and over, "Well, I hope nothing goes wrong." Then she'd do some more planning. She worried about the weather, and she talked about being so fearful of the weather that it was not going to be good that day, that my aunt, who was hosting her reception at my aunt's house, even knocked a wall out between her family room and dining room to make one large room in case the reception had to move inside. Now remember what I said? Feelings and emotions are creative. So how do you think this wedding turned out? It was a disaster. She had all of my brothers in the wedding. There's 4 brothers. 2 of them, my 2 older brothers, both fainted during the wedding. Somebody called the ambulance when one of them fainted, and the ambulance arrived just as my sister and her husband were walking out the aisle. The siren was blaring. Of course, it rained on the reception. My sister had spent time making these humongous tissue paper flowers. She tied them to hula hoops and floated them in my aunt's pool. There were lots of those hula hoops floating with the flowers on them. But by the time the reception started, all of the tissue paper had gone into the pool because of the rain. Well, every one of her wedding pictures, where she's in the picture, has a big red nose because she was crying so much during the wedding from everything going wrong. She held the thought in mind that something was going to go wrong, and so it did. She created her own experience. Now you might ask, what does that have to do with Valentine's Day? And I would say, what are your feelings, images, and thoughts about Valentine's Day? Well, you will be creating your reality by your beliefs, and your beliefs are supported by your feelings, images, and thoughts. So I invite each one of us to consider the divine as our Valentine. What if you reframed it to be a day where you really showed love to the divine, to the God of your understanding? Now, I know some of us have love partners and some don't, but all of us have our life that's been freely and abundantly given by the Creator who loves us unconditionally. Can you imagine taking time to tell Spirit how much you love it and appreciate your life? Are you living in a state of gratitude? Know that you are an amazing spiritual being. So act like it by living from that overflowing love that Spirit surrounds you with each day. I've had people say that our Science of Mind philosophy is a do-it-yourself philosophy. And it's true. No one can do it for you. We each have to do it for ourselves. Now, one of my teachers, Reverend Dr. Alma Stevens, would always say to me, Rick, tell yourself you love yourself. You must do this 5,000 times a day. Well, there was a time where I tried to count 5,000 times. That was a lot. What I learned she was really saying is, tell yourself you love yourself all day long and all time during the day. She used to say to me, Rick, say it even if you don't believe it. Say it until you change your consciousness, because it will happen. Your consciousness will change. Keep telling yourself you love yourself. What wisdom. Albert Einstein said, the world as we have created it is a process of our thinking. It cannot be changed without changing our thinking. And of course, we all know Ernest Holmes said, change your thinking and change your life. So for Valentine's Day, I'm choosing to love myself and to love the Spirit within me. I invite you to join me in this action. Will you love yourself and Spirit within you? In Living the Science of Mind on page 111, Ernest writes, no one can find God for us. Each individual must do this for themselves. There is no place where we begin and God leaves off. We find God only within ourselves. This reminds me of the Whitney Houston song, Greatest Love of All. Do you remember when that song was so popular? And she sang, learning to love ourselves is the greatest love of all. Do you love yourself? You see, to me, loving myself is not about being conceited. It's falling in love with the source energy that created me out of itself. When I'm loving myself, I'm honoring the God within me. I'm seeing the divine in my life. And I'm feeling and sensing that abundant, unconditional love that Spirit lives in me, as me, and through me. Can you love the divine even when there's one set of footprints in the sand? When Spirit is carrying you, are you carrying Spirit in your heart each day? When I love myself, it frees me to love others and to see the divine in them as well. So, will you choose to focus your attention on the love of Spirit this Valentine's Day? It's done unto you as you believe. Let me tell you this story. There was a woman walking down the street, and she saw two large dogs that were coming down the street toward her. One of the dogs turned off the sidewalk and walked through a doorway. Shortly, it came backing out of the door. It was growling and showing its teeth and very angry. It walked on away, growling and not happy. And then the second dog walked through that same doorway. After a minute or so, that dog returned, and it was smiling, wagging his tail, and very happy. The woman considered this and thought, what could make one dog so angry and the other dog so happy? So she crossed the street. Her curiosity had the most of her. She walked through the doorway herself, and to her surprise, she found a room that was lined with mirrors. So the angry dog saw hundreds of angry dogs growling back at him, while that happy dog saw hundreds of happy dogs looking back at him. Life reflects back to us what we think into it. So I ask you, are you expecting to see good? Are you expecting to feel and know love and blessings in your life? Or is your mindset to be expecting disappointment? I have a final story that I'll share. It follows the dog theme, since that's something I started with today. And this is a story shared by a mother. She said, our 14-year-old dog, Abby, died last month. The day after she passed away, my 4-year-old daughter, Meredith, was crying and talking about how much she missed Abby. She asked if we could write a letter to God so that when Abby got to heaven, God would recognize her. I told her that I thought we could do so, and she dictated these words. Dear God, will you please take care of my dog? She died yesterday and is with you in heaven. I miss her very much. I'm happy that you let me have her as my dog, even though she got sick. I hope you'll play with her. She likes to swim and play with balls. I'm sending a picture of her so that when you see her, you'll know that she's my dog. I really miss her. Love, Meredith. The mother said we put the letter in an envelope with a picture of Abby and Meredith and addressed it to God in heaven. We put our return address on it, and Meredith pasted several stamps on the front of the envelope because she said it would take a lot of stamps to get the letter all the way to heaven. That afternoon, she dropped it into the letterbox at the post office. In a few days, she asked if God had gotten her letter yet. I told her that I thought he had. Yesterday, she said there was a package wrapped in gold paper on our front porch, addressed to Meredith in an unfamiliar handwriting. Meredith opened it, and inside was a book by Mr. Rogers called When a Pet Dies. Taped to the inside front cover of the letter was the letter that we had written to God in its opened envelope. On the opposite page was the picture of Abby and Meredith and this note. Dear Meredith, Abby arrived safely in heaven. Having the picture was a big help, and I recognized her right away. Abby isn't sick anymore. Her spirit is here with me, just like it stays in your heart. Abby loved being your dog. Since we don't need our bodies in heaven, I don't have any pockets to keep your picture, So I'm sending it back to you in this little book for you to keep and have something to remember Abby by. Thank you for the beautiful letter. And thank your mother for helping you write it and send it to me. What a wonderful mother you have. I picked her especially for you. I send my blessings every day, and I remember, and please remember, that I love you very much. By the way, Meredith, I'm easy to find. I'm wherever there is love. Love God. My prayer for you today is that you see God all around you in this day and throughout this week. I hope that you'll take time this week to journey within, to find God, and to feel that unconditional love of this power that created you and that breathes life into your body each and every day. Know that you are divinely loved. And now, let's move into a time of meditation. I invite you to take a few deep breaths. And as you take those breaths, breathe in this message of love. We know that Spirit is all around us. That as we breathe in, we're breathing in the Spirit of life. We're breathing in the unconditional love of God. And that life and that love resides within us. And as we breathe out, we breathe that love and that life out to the world. And so let's breathe into the silence and accept the message that's here for us today. Thank you, Spirit, for the love that you share with each and every one of us. Thank you that we are created in your image and that your unconditional love flows to us and help us to keep our hearts and minds open, that it will flow from us out into the world. Thank you. Thank you, Spirit, for this message of hope, for this message to remind us that each day is Valentine's Day as we fall in love with you. Thank you, God, for reminding us that we are spiritual beings and that through our human experience, we raise our vibration by focusing our attention on that divine life, that divine breath, and that divine love and joy which lives in us, as us, and through us. I release my word, knowing that each life unfolds perfectly with that pattern of health, wealth, and abundance. And so it is.
So it is.
Namaste.
Thank you, Reverend Rick.
Thank you.
This is the time we move into our prosperity section, and it's my privilege. I always have the little basket here, and I just want to tell you that I receive your donations because I'm the treasurer as well. I get them via checks to the post office box, through the Givelify app, through PayPal. PayPal you can use, the update has a link to donate through PayPal. Those donations make it possible for us to do this work and be here every week and reach out across 9 states this morning in 3 countries and be with you to share this good news, the kind we love. Excuse me. So I thank you for that. And I'm not ashamed to tell you that when I post those in QuickBooks, I talk to you. When I put you in, I say, oh, thank you so much. And you are blessed again and again for that. So if you will join me in the chat is our weekly prosperity affirmation for February. I'll read it once and then we'll read it together. Today I claim my good health, prosperity, freedom, all the good things of life, given clearly and deliberately to a child of God. Say it with me, please. Today I claim my good health, prosperity, freedom, all the good things of life, given clearly and deliberately to a child of God. Thank you. Now I would like to, we have three. I added a quick one at the end, but on February 24th, 25th, Reverend Rick is starting the teaching of Exploring Roots of Science of Mind, an 8-week class given on Thursdays from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time via Zoom. And the class is $150. And if you want to register, give Reverend Rick an email, send him an email, and he will get back to you. You see his email address there. Reverend Rick, do you want to add anything to that?
My email address will also be in each one of the updates. So if you don't get it here, know that you'll have it on your computer when you get the updates. So thank you. And it's
Yes.
using a different Zoom link than what we do for service. So I do need anybody that wants to take the class to register with me so that I make sure that I can send you the new Zoom link. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, and you get, you should be getting a constant contact weekly update every Tuesday at 6 p.m. and every Saturday at 6 p.m. to remind you of our Zoom link for church. If you're not getting that, if you will send me an email and let me know, send me your email, then I will put you on there to be sure you get it. Second announcement is Vicki Jeter is holding a one-day workshop on February 27th from 10 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. with a 30-minute lunch. And it's a love offering basis. And if you want to contact Vicki, you can be set up for that. She is doing this part of her ministerial studies, and that's very important. And Vicki, do you have something you would like to add about that?
Thank you so much. That was beautifully said. I just want people to know, to be fully prepared for that workshop, do let me know you're coming. That particular workshop will be on this link. So if you do want to drop in, you're more than welcome, because I want everybody that wants to come to be there. But if you let me know in advance, I want to let you know about some materials that would be beneficial for you to be. But I would like to describe that to you if I know you're coming. So let me know if you can, and if you can't, come on anyway.
Okay, thank you. And I added a quick little thing. We also have another student that is sort of a distant member of LCSL, her mother and sisters, and it needs to do a little workshop to get her Master's of Fine Arts degree. And we have agreed to just say we are sponsoring her. And if you would like to learn to tell your own story, a creative writing workshop, she's going to be holding that as part of her studies on Fridays and Saturdays from March 5th to March 27th. And that's from 10 a.m. to noon on those days. I think it's 6 weeks, or well, it doesn't look like it's even 6 weeks. So it's free. because it's part, she has to do it for her degree. And you'll learn character development, plot development, the keys to writing exciting short stories with an emphasis on fiction and creative nonfiction and memoirs. So if you're interested, I would have you contact me and I will get your email address to her and she will get back with you for the Zoom link on that. So, all right. I think that is it. And now I'm going to turn this back to Reverend Rick for our benediction.
Thank you, Pat. So take a breath with me. We are so grateful for this day. Spirit, thank you for this time, this sacred time, to be together as spiritual community, to encourage one another and to hear your message. Thank you, God, for all that has transpired. Thank you for speaking to our hearts, and thank you for the openness of our minds. I bless each one this week as we move from this place out into the marketplace, knowing that we are sharing your life as part of ours, that God shines forth from each and every one of us. And so I bless each person here. I bless our world, and I bless all that is. I release my word, and we seal it by saying together, and so it is. And our closing song today, before our sharing, is I Am Whole.
I am whole, I am complete. I lack nothing, I have no need. Blessed beyond measure, joy overflows, glorious expression, shining light, sharing love, bringing peace. I am whole, I am complete. Expression, shining light, sharing love, bringing peace. I am whole, I am complete. I lack nothing, I have no need. Blessed beyond measure, joy overflows, glorious expression, shining light, sharing love, bringing peace, shining light, sharing love, bringing peace, shining light, sharing love, bringing peace.
Thank you. Happy Valentine's Day to everyone. Go and know that you are loved.